Hello and welcome to Legal Dissent, where we educate and inform you of your constitutional rights before they are taken away. Today we analyze a video brought to us by Indiana News. His channel and the link to the original video are located in the description. Make sure to visit him and let him know that Legal Dissent sent you. In this episode, Indiana News is filming a county jail located in Auburn, Indiana, and is questioned by Sergeant Weimer of the Auburn Police Department.
I'm asking the question.
I'm asking the question. What's your name? I don't even know who you are.
What's this say right here? You can get your camera and look right here. It says Sergeant Weimer, Auburn Police Department.
Sergeant Weimer. Very nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for identifying yourself.
Okay. Now, can you tell me what you're doing out here on the street?
I'm not in the street, sir.
On the sidewalk?
On public
you're
space.
On county property right
on
now,
public
sir?
space.
Sir, you're on county property right now.
Public space.
Okay, so
This
I'm asking
is
you,
public right
these
away.
are really simple questions, and I don't know why you're evading them. What are you doing out here?
I'm going to sit here and not speak with you now.
Okay.
I'm under no obligation
I'm going to
speak with you.
The Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals held in United States v. Hendricks that there are three well-established categories of police-citizen encounters. The first is where an officer seeks a citizen's voluntary cooperation through non-coercive questioning, which is not a seizure within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. Second would be an investigatory Terry stop, which is limited to a brief, non-intrusive detention for which the officer needs specific and articulable facts sufficient to give rise to a reasonable suspicion that a person has committed or is committing a crime. And finally, an arrest, for which the police must have probable cause that a person has committed or is committing a crime. In this instance, as Indiana News has not violated any laws that we are aware of, this encounter would fall under the first category as defined in Hendricks, and the entire conversation is a voluntary one, in which Indiana News can disengage at any time.
I ask you to leave the property of the county of DeKalb.
I have no idea where that is if this is not public space.
This sidewalk right here, it belongs to the county. It doesn't belong to it's not public.
Okay. Where would county and public property be then?
It has been well established since the late 1800s that there's a need for public right-of-ways and easements to facilitate roadways and public transportation. These areas, by rule, are open to the public. Here, Indiana News is clearly in one of these public areas on a public sidewalk, and the sergeant has no authority to ask him to vacate at this point in time.
I don't know.
If you're going to enforce the law, I'd appreciate if you knew the law. Where can I stand?
Well, you're not asking, or you're not answering my questions, though. So
I'm under no obligation to answer any of your questions.
I'm under no obligation to tell you.
Then we have nothing.
I'm asking you to
then may I please
unless you have
know
official business
where it is.
Right here.
I do have official business.
You do?
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm a journalist gathering content for a story.
And see how simple that would have been, just to tell me that right off the bat.
But I'm under no obligation to have to tell you anything.
But doesn't it go a lot smoother when you're cooperative?
No, because no.
You don't believe in the?
No.
Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. Hold on, but it will never be used for me.
Okay.
So I don't need to talk.
Indiana News is absolutely correct in stating that everything he says will be used against him and not for him in a court of law. Many people forget and fail to use their Fifth Amendment right to not self-incriminate by opening their mouths and talking to the police. This typically will get people into significantly more trouble than simply exercising your right to remain silent. At this point, this is still a completely voluntary conversation between the officer and the citizen, and Indiana News does not have to prove his innocence to law enforcement.
Okay. I don't need to describe anything of what I'm doing. If you're telling me that I am on county property,
yes.
The assessor's office told me different. So before I did this, I checked.
Okay.
And I found out where the property lines were.
Okay. Where are they?
Here is public easement. It's 33 feet from center line.
Okay.
33 feet from center street.
Okay.
So if you're going to tell me I'm on private property, I would like you to instruct me and direct me and actually escort me to public property, sir. If you're asking me to leave private property, I would like to be escorted to public property.
18. No further. Okay, go ahead and about your business, sir.
This is the perfect example of an auditor being prepared and doing his homework before grabbing a camera and instigating a confrontation with law enforcement. Make sure you know what you are doing before you try this at home.
I am on public property.
Go ahead about your business, sir.
You have not yet answered my question. I'm trying to find out. You first told me I am in violation of an ordinance.
Listen, do you think I just came out here because I have nothing else better to do?
I think you came out here because you were told to come out here.
Exactly.
Right.
I have a job to do.
Right.
You pay taxes?
Of course I do.
Okay, so you're paying taxes so we do our job. And when we get called out here because you're taking pictures of a building that...
I'm doing something that's constitutionally protected.
I understand that.
Okay, so it can't be a crime. What are you trying to make it a crime for?
You don't want me to investigate it, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, so again, you pay taxes for me to just... I'd sit on the station and say I'm not going to respond to this suspicious male taking pictures of what they think is inside of the jail.
Suspicious male?
Yeah, inside of the jail.
There's tons of suspicious males inside the jail. No. What are you referring to?
Pictures of the jail.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
They called and said they think it's suspicious.
Is that a misdemeanor or a felony?
What if it's terrorism and I have to investigate?
The assertion of the sergeant here that Indiana News is being suspected of terrorism is simply laughable. Terrorism is defined by 28 CFR section 0.85 as the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. The filming of a public building from a public point of view in broad daylight does not come close to achieving this definition of terrorism.
It's not terrorism. You can't sit here and call a constitutionally protected act terrorism. Supreme Court already says that. You can't make a crime out of something that's not a crime. And taking video in public is not a crime.
It's not a crime.
Correct. And you can't make it a crime by saying it's something else. That's Supreme Court law.
Do you realize that we don't base probable cause just on one thing? It's a multiple element.
Sir.
The sergeant is absolutely correct when he states that law enforcement uses multiple prongs when developing probable cause for an arrest or reasonable suspicion for an investigatory stop. The Indiana Court of Appeals held in Crabtree v. State that whether a particular fact situation justifies an investigatory stop is determined on a case-by-case basis. Further, that the Fourth Amendment's reasonable suspicion requirement is satisfied where the facts known to the officer, together with the reasonable inferences arising from such facts, would cause an ordinarily prudent person to believe that criminal activity has occurred or is about to occur. Obviously, with reasonable suspicion being decided on a case-by-case scenario, it'd be up to a judge to decide if there were enough facts to warrant an actual investigation, but we would argue that an ordinarily prudent person would not believe that an individual in plain sight in broad daylight performing a constitutionally protected activity would be suspicious of conducting an act of terrorism.
That's why we pay you to do your job, because I don't know how to do it. Yeah, you can explain it to me all day long, but I don't understand the particulars about the job that you do.
I can explain that to you if you listen to me.
But it doesn't do me any good.
It doesn't. But you're a journalist, and I'm guessing that you're college educated. So me explaining this and you not understanding it completely blows my mind.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're out here to take pictures of this for the assessor's office, and that's all you're doing, perfect. But if you're out here and you're a terrorist, because I don't know who you are, and you're looking for the weakest spot on this building, when you take your pictures back to wherever it is you live, and you decide you want to try to blow up something, how do I know that?
How do you know I'm not going to stick them in a book and put them somewhere? I mean, you're going with the most extreme thing that there is, and that's okay.
Okay.
But it's not what's happening here.
But how do I know that? Unless I investigate it.
You can do all you want.
Agree or disagree?
I don't know. I would want you to investigate.
Have you ever sat on a jury?
No, I always decline.
Okay. Well, you have to be a reasonable person. Okay. And I'm a very reasonable person with a lot of common sense.
A reasonable person with a lot of common sense would not assume that an individual filming a building in broad daylight on a public street was planning on using the footage to find a weakness in order to conduct an act of terrorism.
Okay. All right. So if I'm out here to investigate something, I don't know what I'm investigating until I ask questions.
Okay. Okay.
You could be doing a whole lot of things. This could be all legitimate. It sounds like it is. But how do I know that until I go investigate it?
I don't know.
I don't know. You're
yeah,
exactly
I don't
right.
know how you do your job. I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what you're fishing for.
I have to ask questions, right?
No.
Don't I have to ask questions if I want to figure out what's going on?
No, you
and
can
when you're
watch.
being evasive about answering the questions, that throws up another red flag.
I'm not being
Makes me
evasive.
think,
I'm assuring my Fourth Amendment right to privacy. I don't need you to know who I am, know where I'm going, know where I've been, and know what I'm up to.
Okay.
That's not your right.
I understand.
It's my right to privacy. So you're trying to infringe on that by basing your questions on where did I come from? Where do you think I came from?
I don't know where you came from.
Well, it wasn't Jupiter. It wasn't Jupiter.
How did you get to here?
Conveyance.
Land conveyance? Air?
Why do I have to answer these questions? Am I under any obligation to answer how I got there?
Nope, you're not.
Okay.
Nope, you're not.
Okay. Like I told the other guy, I'm on the look. The guy that came out of the open door down there. I told him I'm on the lookout for tyrants.
Okay.
And I always bring my best bait.
Reasonable? When you're looking out for tyrants, does that seem reasonable to somebody?
Well, I don't know. That's what seems to be what I found.
Tyrants.
You're sitting here infringing upon my right to sit here and go ahead and continue to do a constitutionally protected activity without you being all hostile and aggressive by coming out here and claiming that I'm a terrorist. How dare you? I mean, I wouldn't.
Think he was a terrorist?
Yes, you did. You said you could be doing terroristic activities.
Rewind that video and play it. What if it's terrorism and I have to investigate?
It's not terrorism. You can't sit here and call a constitutionally protected act terrorism. Nobody uses video anymore. We all do digital.
Okay, I never called you a terrorist.
Well, I can call and find out. It's being live streamed as we speak.
Are you gonna
call the people that are watching?
Okay. Okay.
And it's all being live streamed.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Do I need to get a subpoena to get that?
Of course. And it's for your safety or my safety and your accountability. I just
want to be held accountable. I do.
Well, okay.
I do want to be held accountable.
But I'm not a terrorist.
I never claimed that you were, sir.
You were saying that I could be conducting terroristic activity.
You could be.
Right. And I'm telling you, how dare you say that to me? How dare you?
Do you think that this camera is intimidating me right now? Are you Are you trying to intimidate me right now?
I am allowed to conduct and film police in their job on public space. If you're on public space, it doesn't matter where the camera is, as long as it's not affecting the way you do your job.
I have a job to do.
Right.
So when I'm called to a complaint, I need to answer the complaint, and that's why I'm here right now.
Who's a complaining party, and of what crime were they complaining about?
Suspicion.
What crime were they complaining about? If suspicion is a crime, that's a new one. Let me know.
See, you don't understand.
I don't understand, because I'm not committing a crime. I'm not out here doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything nefarious out here.
Okay.
But yet you still want to talk to me like I'm here to do something that's not okay.
Again.
I mean, do you stop everybody walking down the street?
Again.
Or do you just stop people with cameras?
Again, I'm the one asking questions, and if you don't want to answer the questions, that throws up red flags that you're not willing to cooperate with simple questions.
The Supreme Court has already said that invoking and refusing to waive your Fifth Amendment right is not a crime. And it can't be counted as suspicious.
Beautiful building.
Very old.
Yes. Okay. Continue about your job.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
In conclusion, well done to Indiana News for standing his ground and asserting his rights. Ultimately, law enforcement did the right thing too by leaving him to conduct his business, but only after a lengthy conversation about the rights that all Americans possess. What do you think? Do you believe that Indiana News did the right thing? Do you think that the law enforcement officer could have handled this stop a little bit better? Let us know below in the comments. Thanks for joining us for our first episode of Legal Dissent. If you liked or disliked our content, please let us know. If you have a video you'd like us to analyze, please send it our way in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll be posting more very soon.